Book 20 of the Bucket List Book Adventure is complete. Let me tell you all about Apology by Plato. Firstly, apology in this sense is not an expression of remorse, as in the modern definition. Its definition here comes from the Greek apologia, which means the formal defense for one's actions. This is Socrates' defense as recounted by Plato during that final, fateful trial that condemned the philosopher to death. In 399 BC, Socrates was charged with 3 crimes: impiety, or disbelief in the Athenian gods, introducing new gods through his inner daemon, and corrupting the youth of Athens. The charges were brought by 3 men, Meletus, Anytus, and Lycon. It was a surprisingly serious thing and a little out of proportion. This trial occurred around 5 years after the end of the Peloponnesian War. If you recall my post on Thucydides, the history of the Peloponnesian War, Athens lost largely because of its indulgences and lack of virtue compared to the Spartans. The Athenian public was very angry at the loss and was looking for someone to blame. Fast forward to Socrates, a veteran of the Peloponnesian War, who spoke rather frankly about virtue and the problems caused by its lack. He spoke at length about government and did not favor the democracy of Athens. See my post on the Republic for more information. Plus, Socrates believed in an inner guide, which was essentially creating a new kind of god, and that was just blasphemous. Also, and this really didn't help, 2 of his students behaved quite badly. Alcibiades, who was the general who engineered the Sicilian campaign and then defected to Sparta, and Cretus became one of the 30 tyrants. The plays also shaped public opinion. Aristophanes' Clouds is best remembered, but he wasn't the only one. Comedies by Eupolis and Cratinus, along with several now lost works, all poked fun at philosophers and deep thinkers. By the time of the trial, mocking intellectuals had become almost fashionable in Athens. Thinking too deeply, on the other hand, was not fashionable at all. One of Socrates' old hoplite buddies even scolded him for it. Public opinion had turned against him long before the trial began, and much of his defense focused on dismantling the parody those writers had created. During the trial, Socrates did not do himself any favors. He did not apologize in the modern sense of the word and turned the courtroom into a final lecture. I'm also not sure he took it seriously. When Socrates was asked what he thought a fitting punishment was, he asked for free meals for life at the Prytaneum, or the banquet hall for state heroes. I will admit, it is difficult from this armchair, 2,500-ish years later, and from a free-speaking, free religious society, to understand how anyone could have thought this a serious enough matter for a state trial, much less the death penalty, even if he did come across as an arrogant boobyhead. The city of Athens, however, took all of these matters quite seriously, and he was sentenced to death by drinking hemlock. Socrates refused to escape, even though he could have done so, claiming that he had always lived by the laws of Athens. While it may seem extreme, the life and death of Socrates is a powerful lesson on the repercussions of challenging the status quo. Even though we might admire virtue as defined by Socrates today, it was a rather novel concept in his day and age. Challenging your immediate culture has consequences, and I found it notable that there was very little documented regret from those who had voted for Socrates' death, nor is there any record that Aristophanes was overly fussed. So how does one successfully challenge public opinion and culture without death? I don't know. So far, no one in human history has done it.